Friends, so today I'm going to show you my most recent used homeschool book haul. Also, I'll share some brand new books I got because I couldn't find them used and I had to have them. So let me give you an overview of the table and I'll tell you the price breakdown of what I bought. So, oh, there's our glorious table and all the new books that just have come into our home within the last week. And like you know, you can never have too many books. My dream is, so fingers crossed, this is on my summer plan, is this whole wall here all the way down and maybe even either side of our fireplace. I would love to do in something like IKEA, you know, floor to ceiling bookshelves. And oh, that would just be a lovely thing. We do still have a bunch of our books packed up from our move. We also have important books within the house. I knew whenever I bought some Dr. Seuss books brand new. I knew when I bought them we would find our Dr. Seuss collection, and truth be told, within a few days we did. So now we have extra. But let me show you the used book haul first. So I was at a homeschool conference speaking last weekend, and everything on this table from here on over, it's a total of 21 books. I may have picked up a few more and they have just dissolved into our book collection, but I had these in a special stack to share with you guys. And so this Dr. Seuss book, Go Dog Go, this was in the used book, and that was $2 whole, and we did not have Go Dog Go in our collection, so I got that. I also got, I didn't know that some trains run on water, and I don't have the price tag on there anymore, but I will tell you, so for all of these used books, my total was $37. So if you break that down, the 37 divided by 21, it makes it like $1.75 or so, or we could even say $2 a book. That would be a little over. I would have gladly paid up to $2 a book for any of these. I was, again, thrilled with them. So we got The Incredible Journey, fantastic story. We got Road to Memphis. Now we have Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry, and we have Let the Circle Be Unbroken in our collection. I don't know that we have any of her others. So slowly collecting these books for our collection. We also got The Winter at Valley Forge, and then we got We're Writing the Constitution. The Jean Fritz historical books are always good. And now a lot of these are for my teen boys to add to our collection. Like, I'm slowly collecting the different Steinbeck novels, so I picked up The Pearl for them. The Nine Tailors. Now, I haven't read this book. I read the description, and it sounded like a good mystery. Don't know if it is or not, but it just had kind of a like Sherlock Holmes feels to it. So we'll see. Anyway, we got The Life and Times of Benjamin Franklin, and this was a Pulitzer Prize finalist, so it should be good. Let's see, we got Bud Not Buddy. Now this sounded like it's, of course, a Newbery winner, and I've mentioned this before. If I find any books that have the Newbery seal or a Newbery mention, like I think this one down here is a Newbery mention, if I can get their old, yeah, I pick those up. Whether we've read them or not, I figure they are good for our library, and someone will read them at some point. We got a book on Stalin. I got 3 different Shakespeare stories for our collection. We got A Midsummer's Night Dream, The Tempest, and Henry V. I also picked up There Are No Children Here, the story of 2 boys growing up in the other America. It looked interesting. I'm sure this is more adult nonfiction. I may read it first. I love true stories. I love people's struggles. I love people working through hard things, and that's what makes a good story. So again, I will probably read that first, but then that's for our older grades collection. No longer a Slumdog. Now, I passed this up at the thrift store a few months ago, and then when I saw it in my video on the shelf, I was like, oh, I needed to pick that up. I have not read No Longer a Slumdog either. It looks excellent. I've heard excellent things about this book. It is about children who are suffering in Asia, and I thought it would be an excellent read. Also, Uncle Tom's Cabin is good for our collection. We've got Last of the Mohicans, Charles Dickens, A Tale of Two Cities. We have Julie of the Wolves, another Newbery Medal. We got The Road from Home, the story of an Armenian girl. And I read this while I was there at the book fair, and it read really well. The great thing is, we can enjoy reading to our children, and then a lot of these books I like to pick up and read for myself. I got The Scarlet Letter. I got Corrie ten Boom's The Hiding Place. We listened to this on audiobook this summer, and it's just absolutely fantastic, and I want all of Corrie ten Boom's books, so I was glad to pick that up. And then I picked up a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. This actually looks like a younger grades reading level once I got it home, but still good for our collection, and hey, Naomi can read that. So this is my used books. And then down here, and I'll move this one out because this was actually part of my used haul, these are the new books that I got. So we have a large, thick Dr. Seuss collection, and it's in one book. Actually, I'm going to go see if I can grab it for you real quick. Okay, I got it. Here it is. So we have this giant collection of Dr. Seuss. I believe we've had this for about 13 years. I was just saying the other day, it might need some plastic tape, like some thick packing type tape, added to the spine. I do see where it's broken now. But this is a fantastic book. I will also link this one below. I had bought this brand new, I think for Jaden's 3rd birthday. But it is just a collection that we have read again and again and again. And you see, we have, and I think I saw it on Mulberry Street, McElligot's Pool, If I Ran the Zoo, Horton Hears a Who, The Cat in the Hat, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, Yertle the Turtle, Happy Birthday to You, Green Eggs and Ham, The Sneetches, Dr. Seuss's Sleep Book, The Lorax, and Oh, the Places You'll Go. And we have just read this. I cannot tell you how many times we have just read beginning to end of this book through the years. And we couldn't find it for the longest time. So, of course, this past week, while I did my home office makeover, and I'll pop that video up for you too, we found this book in all my stuff I needed to go through back in my bedroom. So I'm thrilled that we found it. But, of course, a few days before, I bought several of our favorites because we couldn't stand it anymore. So since this book is big and bulky, and, the kids, I usually let them, they can look at it one at a time, or I read it to them. We do have to be slightly gentle with it. It's good to have these other copies on hand, and we also found more of our single copies in our unpacking this week. So this is what I got, though, last weekend. I got The Sneetches, Marvin K. Mooney, and I think I saw it on Mulberry Street. And this new big-hearted moose book, we've never read that one, Fox in Socks, Put Me in the Zoo, and The Cat in the Hat. And so these copies were $5 each at Kohl's. That was about the only deal I found at Kohl's, but I was glad to have them. So I spent more for these new copies of Dr. Seuss books than I did on this whole used book haul. But again, for building our home library, and also as you build your home library, any Dr. Seuss books you find are always just wonderful for your family collection. Then another thing I got this week, I just got this in the mail the other day actually, is a brand new, fresh to us, Little House on the Prairie set. Now this set, it's got, all the books are included. It was under $40 on Amazon. I think it was $31 and some change. So we got Little House in the Big Woods. I'll pull them out and show you. So we got that one. That's always great. We have Farmer Boy. Now, if you're not familiar with the Laura stories, this is actually about her husband, Almanzo. And then we have, of course, Little House on the Prairie. And then we have On the Banks of Plum Creek. And even Gabriel said this morning, oh, I remember that's the one with all the grasshoppers. And yes, it is. And then we have By the Shores of Silver Lake. And then we have The Long Winter, and Liam said, oh, that's the one where they almost starved in town, and that is true. And then we have, we've got Little Town on the Prairie, And then this is always, I mean, they're all my favorite, but we listened to this one not too long ago. These Happy Golden Years. And then we have the first 4 years. So it ends up being a little more than $3 a book, which I was excited about that. Honestly, I would have paid that for this series in good condition used, and I was glad to find it brand new for that. And some things, you know, if they're books that your family just loves and wears to a frazzle, sometimes you have to buy yourself a fresh set. And I've said this before. Next, I have to do that with Narnia. We have read our copy of Narnia until it's held together with duct tape. It's like a series copy like this where all the books are bound together, and then we have individual copies, but again, they're all falling apart, so we have to get updated Narnia. So that was my large used homeschool book haul, and then some new books to go along with that too. A great place to find used chapter books are at a lot of your local state homeschool conventions. Now the bigger regional events don't usually have the used book section. It's all brand new stuff there, which is lots of fun too. But some of your state conventions, like I know in Virginia, Home Educators Association of Virginia, oh, when I go to their used book haul, I take my double stroller, and it is just, you know, no kids are in the stroller, but the stroller is just stacked, you know, floor to the top, and the little cubby and everything is just overflowing with chapter books. And that's just part of the homeschooling life, because you get used to books being such a huge part of your everyday. Let me think what else to tell you. Okay, so we have homeschool conventions, and then always check your local thrift stores, because even like that No Longer a Slumdog book, I saw that at my local thrift store. I also saw several of the Little House on the Prairie books. I just didn't realize at that point, I hadn't thought through, oh, I really need to pick those up. And what else was it I saw last time? I forget. But anyway, there were several chapter books there that were excellent. We just didn't need, oh, I think I found a bunch of the Roald Dahl books. And we have a big, fairly new collection of those, and they're still in good shape. They won't always be. And then where's another place? I used to get a lot of used books on half.com, which is an Amazon company, and then also on eBay. Like if you check on eBay, there will be some mom with like a used book lot that you can buy. And so whenever I purchase those, I just break it down to the cost per book. And so if I could have gotten all of these for $37 on an eBay lot, I certainly would have got it. And there's also several, if you search for Facebook groups, there's a lot of like used curriculum and like used Sunlight, used teaching textbooks, and those kind of groups too. That gets more into actual curriculum packages. But if you do search for used Sunlight book lots, Sunlight is based on a lot of chapter books. And even though I always end up taking Sunlight apart when I buy it, I do like to get their book lots if I can get them for, you know, a fourth of the price or so, just to have in our family library. So hopefully in a few months here, we'll have gleaming bookshelves overflowing, and then we'll have to build some more. And that's a good problem to have. So thank you guys so much for watching today. I appreciate you. I'll see you. We'll talk about books in those comments below. Also, don't forget, if you ever come over here to watch my food videos, to text the word 10 recipes to 44222, and I'll send you over the Large Family Table Dinner Recipes book. I'll see you next time with another brand new video. Bye-bye.